How's everybody feeling today? Now tell me, are we excited about this election coming? Are we excited about Sam Joshi and his council slate? Are we excited about the county and LD18, the Assembly, the Senate? Are we excited? And we excited about our governor, who's going to be here shortly, Congressman Mikie Sherrill. I just want to welcome everybody here today, and we are so excited to have you here. It's not just about showing up, it's about showing out. It's about us coming together for a big change in Edison and a continuous change of what we've done so far and what we plan to do. I've been excited to work alongside Mayor Sam Joshi as a senior council member, and I'll tell you, in our first year as council president, we've accomplished so much. As most of you know today, you take a look at the park to your left over there. Tell me that's not a landmark of success. Look behind you and see a splash park. Tell me that's not a landmark of success. All right? We have put together a financial opportunity in this town with infrastructure and change, great public safety, and work we've done. And I'm so excited to look forward to the next 4 years. But let's not forget, we're just 2 days away from voting, and we need you out there. And it's about communicating with every person, every friend, and getting together one another and getting this vote out. And just before I forget too, understand that there's a table over here, and you can stop on down and grab some lawn signs and sign up to knock on doors and make phone calls and get involved. Now, can I count on you to be involved? That's not enough. But I really count on you because this matters. Nobody wants to be 200 votes away from losing. Ask a senator who won by 200 in a landslide. That was a lucky one. That was great. And now Zwicker is outstanding and doing well. We don't want to be that person. Every vote counts. I'm very secured in believing that this will come together, but without you getting your friends out and reaching out to each one of us, it just matters. It makes a huge difference. You don't forget on Tuesday and you get people out. Thank you very much for stay on cue right here. Before I introduce our next speaker, I just want to make sure I cover some elected officials that are here. I have former Councilman Lombardi is here. Our Senator Pat Dagnan is here. Coming up. There's a list of speakers we have coming up as well. But before I introduce our next speaker, now there's someone here we're going to have come up next. He doesn't need an introduction, but I'll give him an introduction anyway. Congressman Frank Pallone has been standing up for the people of Edison for decades. And as a council member, I can tell you, when you work together, there's nothing like getting your congressman on the phone to help you out when needed in your community. And one thing I've learned being a council member here in Edison is working together with our friends in Trenton and our congressman right here. I just want to plug you just a few minutes here, Congressman. But Congressman Pallone has been standing up for Edison residents for decades, securing funding for our schools, infrastructure, public health, and always putting the Edison community first. Whether it's lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, protecting the environment, or expanding access to health care, Congressman Pallone has delivered results that impact families right here in Edison. He doesn't just talk the walk. He walks our streets, met with our residents, and stood up us in tough times. And in moments of celebration, he knows the values of the fight he has in Washington every single day. Let's all put our hands together for Congressman Frank Pallone.
Thank you, Joe. Joe and I plan to do some landscaping at Edison together, actually. We do. You may not believe it, but we do. Look, I want to talk about Sam Joshi. I want to talk about Rob and Sherrill, your two assembly people that are running for re-election, and also about Mikie Sherrill, because they're the ones that have the primary challenges. Your county commissioners and your county officers, they do a great job. There's no question about it. But they don't have an opponent on Tuesday. But it's important to go out in this primary because many of the others are challenged, including your mayor, Sam Joshi. So that's why we have to be out there. But let me just follow up on what Joe said and talk about Sam Joshi, your mayor, for a minute. There's nobody that works harder, that takes heart the concerns of the citizens of Edison Township than your Mayor Sam. And I've seen it. You know, one of the things that we need, and Joe mentioned it, is we have to have cooperation at every level, right? Whether it's the federal level with me, the state level with Robin Sturley, the county level with your county commissioners. But people don't necessarily understand how important that is. So one of the things that Sam Joshi does is work to get grants. Something like almost $20 million in grants. And I know firsthand because he calls me all the time. He called me once and said, you know, we need help to expand the Mini Veal Center, right, which we're working on right now. He wanted money for the health center. We got it, right? He wanted buses to transport senior citizens around. We got it. He asked for money for the firefighters, the firefighters grants for equipment, and we got that. And the consequence of that is that you don't have to pay for it locally, and that impacts, it makes it easier, you know, with the tax rate because you don't have to pay for that locally. And I know it's true on the state level as well. Also, I know that for the last, before he came, there was a lot of concern about the crime. I was called a lot of times from people that are, you know, on Oak Tree Road, a lot of the Indian businesses that were worried about break-ins, people that had concerns about home break-ins. He worked with the state legislatures to get the legislation passed that made it easier to enforce against those who were breaking into homes. And he devoted a lot of time and effort to that himself with the police department. I think it's the first time, I think it's in one of your brochures, that the PBA actually endorsed a mayor in Edison. And that is because, that's probably not because they love him so much, but it's because they see what he's doing to get things done. Now look, the last thing I'm going to say about Sam, and I could go on forever, but I'm not, is this. You know that this is a tough place, right? Edison Township is my largest community in my congressional district. It is very hard to keep people together in this town. A lot of people fight, they carry on, I don't have to tell you, right? And I'm not saying that that doesn't continue, but it definitely is less, and it's definitely more unity in your township under his leadership as mayor than I've ever seen. And I also believe that's because he goes out of his way to bring people together as much as he can, even in a tough place like Edison. And it's tough, right? But I've seen him do it because he cares and he wants you to work together. And that kind of unity is important, and it really should make a difference. So for all these reasons, we've got to make sure you go out and elect him on this Tuesday, please, in this primary race. Now, a little bit about the others, right? Now we're talking on the state level, right? Why do I support Mikie Sherrill? Well, of course, the Middlesex Democratic Organization supports her, the Monmouth Democratic Organization supports her, but why do we all support her? Kind of the same thing, right? We are very concerned that this November we need the strongest candidate possible to run against the Republicans. They know that this is the year, after 2 years of two terms of a Democratic governor. I love Phil Murphy, but you know, people get tired of Democrats or any party after a while, right? They get tired. And so, and at the Democratic legislature, this is even longer. So the Republicans are going to say, well, Democrats have been the incumbents for so long, we should get rid of them. We have to make it clear that that is not the case. And it's not just Trump, right? New Jersey has to be a firewall against Trump and make sure that we don't have Trump and Republicanism here in New Jersey. But that's not the only thing. The bottom line is Democrats try to address the affordability issue. If you look at our two assembly people, Rob and Sturley, they've worked very hard to bring these various programs, you know, anchor programs and others to try to help people with their property taxes. That will not continue under the Republicans. Don't let them kid you. They don't give a damn. They're not going to continue those programs. And I've watched Mikie Sherrill. You know, in this primary we have people on the left, we have people on the right. She is a centrist, which means that she's not an ideologue. She's been in the military. She's a strong woman. She understands in Congress. She's gotten a lot of things done because I've been there with her and I've watched her the last 4 years. She's a person that works hard. She's a nice person, but she's a tough woman who will get things done. And she, more than anything else, just like Sam, will bring unity to us as Democrats because of the way she is, her personality, and her ideology. And we need that too, because we can't have everybody on the left and the right. We've got to have a centrist person who's going to bring us together and fight against his Republicans and make sure that we win in November. So that's it. It's pretty simple. I'm not going to keep talking, but I want you to understand how strongly I believe about this entire slate that's endorsed by the Middlesex County Democratic Party. This slate is endorsed by our party because they are the best people for no other reason. And you got to make sure you go out on Tuesday and between now and then and make sure they're all elected in this primary and become our candidates to win in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman Pallone. Before I forget, I just want to do some quick housekeeping and announce some people who are here. First, starting with our Council President, Margot Harris. Our Council Vice President, John Porter, is here. Okay? And I just want to go through our county officials here. We have our Clerk, Nancy Pinkin, is here. Our Sheriff, Billy Scott, is here. And our Commissioners. Deputy Director Shanti Nara is here. Commissioner Claire Escona-Barber is here. Commissioner Charles Kenny, and Commissioner Chanel McCollum. I mentioned Senator Pat Gagnon and our Assembly Rob Kirovich and Sterling Stanley. And I also want to mention our Chairman Kevin McCabe is here in the back. Thank you for all you do. Our next guest I'd like to invite up here is Assembly Rob Kirovich and Sterling Stanley. But before they come up here, I just want to say a few words, what it's like and what it means to be a council member and to have an ear in Trenton and someone you can get on the phone with. Now, people talk about being an elected official, and people talk about being on the council, getting involved, but knowing how to navigate and work with one another is so important. And I know each one of you here today know how that's important. And I've learned through my first year on the council how it was important to get in touch with our Assembly, our Senate, and our Congressmen. I'm truly thankful that for the things I can get done for you and deliver through administration and council, it matters. And there are two people I'd like to say something good about here. As a local council member, I know firsthand how important it is to have a strong partnership in Edison. Edison is lucky to have two of the very best Assembly people, Assembly Rob Kirovich and Assembly Sterling Stanley. They've delivered for our town, bringing back funding for our schools, investing in public safety, and making sure Edison gets its fair share of state resources. They are leaders who don't just talk, they roll up their sleeves and show up for us down in Trenton. Whether it's fighting for our community, for what matters for working families, here in Edison, it's my honor to bring up to the stage Assemblyman Rob Kirovich and Assemblyman Sterling Stanley. Please come up.
Edison! Let's go! Sam Joshi for mayor! Let's go, Sam! All right. Glad to see you all out here today. I want to start off with $173 million. $173 million. Let that sink in. That's the amount of money that we bought in to the education system here in Edison, from K through 12, $173 million. And we've also fought to bring in an additional $50 million that goes directly to the public schools here in Edison. Edison, the sixth largest city in New Jersey. Edison is where things happen. It is a difference maker in the politics of how New Jersey is run. And that's why it's important to make sure that you get everybody to come out and vote and keep Sam Joshi in office. Make sure that he comes out. Everyone that you know who hasn't voted, we have 6 p.m. tonight and Tuesday, get everybody out who hasn't voted yet and drop in those BBMs. I want to tell you a little bit about how
cohesive we are in the Democratic Party. People talk about all the things that happen, but that's not true. I was a sponsor of more than 250 bills that got signed into law during my tenure in the legislature so far. And that happens because it starts on a local level and it works its way up to the assembly and to the governor's office. We have that working relationship, and that's why it's very important to make sure that you continue that relationship and put Mikie Sherrill as the Democratic nominee for the Democratic Party in November. So it's very important, incumbent upon Edison to be the leader in that, to make sure that Mikie Sherrill gets voted in on Tuesday. I just want to talk about one thing. There's a lot of things, a lot of good things that Sam has done in the last 4 years, but I want to talk about one thing, and that's I was the proud sponsor of the crime bill that was passed into law last October. But let me tell you something, that would not have happened if it wasn't for your mayor, okay? So you gotta make sure that people know that you have a mayor that is working hard for you, okay? In spite of all the negative things people say online or in person, you have to understand one thing. There are a lot of haters out there. Do not believe those haters, because you have someone who's working very hard for you, okay? When no one else was willing to pick up the bill, he called me and says, Assemblyman, can you help us out? We need this bill. Look what's happening within our community. And sure enough, we picked up the bill, we worked on it. We worked on it hard, and we got it passed in a matter of 6 months, okay? And he was the leading cause for that. He was the one who initiated everything. So that's something that we all need to understand, appreciate, and we need to get that message out to everyone, that this is what, your mayor has been doing for you. And I also want to talk about a little bit about the South Asian community. I want to talk about how the South Asian community represents almost 50% of Edison. But also, there's also a part of the South Asian community that leads to division, okay? And that needs to stop. That needs to stop. This is not the time for inexperienced people to come into play. This is not the time to have someone stand up and say, I want to be mayor, I want to be mayor. That's not it. You have someone with a proven track record. In the last 4 years, he's done so much for this township, and he's going to continue doing that. Continuing in another 4 years. That's why you need to make sure that he steps up. You gotta stop listening to all the negative nonsense that's out there about what he's not done or what's going on. That is not what it is. We have to stay unified, and we have to say enough is enough. We don't want that here. This is not in Edison politics. This is not good for Edison. We need a strong, experienced leader. And that's what you have in Sam Joshi. So my friends, Sam Joshi for mayor! Let's go!
Hello, Edison! Rob Karavichek, I'm yours. I've lived there my whole entire life. I've seen Edison change in a great way. You being here today is so important, showing what you're about, and your support, the mayor and his council. That's what we're here to talk about. I've had the opportunity to be a servant for Edison for many years, on the zoning board, on the council, and Edison is the one who put me into the assembly. And it's my honor to be your voice in Trenton, along with Sterling's and Senator Deignan's. Today is about unity. Today is about Sam Joshi, Kelly Deacon, Viral Patel, and Rob Campos. That's your local government here. Those are the people we want to be in government next year. We need your help. We need your votes. We need your friends' votes. We need your family's votes. We We need stability in Edison. Chaos comes in from all different directions. But what the mayor has done, 156 million in road projects, sewer projects, things that would directly affect your tax bill, he's got from the state and obviously from the feds. This is something because there's a network here. I don't know how many places I've said this. We all care about our families, our quality of life, our safety, which he was a promoter of. Sam Joshi, Sterling Stanley. I jumped on that bill because I think it was great. And that's what the law is today. This is what means something. This is the network from council, the mayor, board commissioners, and in the county, us in the assembly, our senators, our congresspeople, and eventually our governor. We have this network that is so important. Everyone has our cell number. We were here to listen to you and make sure what your needs are, we can try to address. This is about you. On the police side, the mayor has hired over 73 officers in this 3.5 years. 3.5 years. That's amazing. I've had the opportunity to work with many mayors since I've been here. I have to say, Sam Joshi has been the most aggressive, has done the most. And that's no disrespect to the other mayors. I'm just seeing what he's done. We want to continue this, don't we? We want to see this momentum continue, right? We need you to vote. We want to see Dan, Kelly, Sherrill, Robert, Shirley, myself. We want to be your representatives here in Edison and in New Jersey. Come on, let's get it going. And we want to see Michael Sherrill as next governor. Let's go.
Thank you, Assemblyman Rob Kirbich and Sterling Stanley. Round of applause for these guys. Come on. Okay. And before I continue, I want to make sure. Are we excited here or what? Tell me. One more time, guys. Are we excited? We have an opportunity here in Edison to re-elect a second-term mayor. How about that? Come on, guys. What do you think of that? The importance of having a second term will be nothing compared to this first term, and because of your support, we've accomplished so much. Imagine what we can accomplish with just 4 more years, guys. Let's say it, 4 more years. That's it, 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. This is going pretty good. All right, enough of Sam Joshi for a moment. I want to talk about our county team and how important it is to work with your county team. I've been fortunate as a council member here for close to 10 years, and I've been so lucky to work with our Commissioner Troy tomorrow and everyone here tomorrow night who we're going to mention. And it is wonderful to pick the phone and they get back to you right away, or their staff, and they take care of something that's important to you and to the residents, something that you're having an issue with. So I'm truly excited about that. So this powerhouse ticket, 5 dedicated public servants who have made Middlesex County safer, stronger, and smarter with bold leadership and smart investment. I first want to introduce our Sheriff, Millie Scott, who's been a trailblazer. The first woman, the first African-American sheriff in New Jersey. How about that? Okay? She's led with distinction, upgrading safety technology, coordinating with law enforcement across this town. Let's give it up for Sheriff Millie Scott. Our next is Clerk Nancy Pinckett. Now, I've worked with Nancy Pinckett as a council member and in the legislature as an assemblywoman. Thank you, Sheriff. And it's been wonderful to work along her side, and she's truly been great. Clerk Nancy Pinckett brings experience at every level of government, from council to legislature to the clerk's office. Under her leadership, Middlesex County has modernized services, secured elections, and expanded access for residents and veterans alike. Round of applause for our clerk, Nancy Pinckett. And our list of county commissioners. starting with Charles Kenny, Clary Ascona Barber, and Chanel Scott McCollum. Every member on our council has had a chance to work with all of these elected officials to get things done in Edison, and that's what matters, okay? And I just want to mention, this group here has delivered $500 million in infrastructure investments, major expansions of Middlesex County College, and economic growth that's outpacing the national average, all while cutting county debt by 6%. They've not just kept our county running, they've transformed it. And let's give a big round of applause to all of our county people here today in front of us. Let's make sure we re-elect them. I want to just hand the microphone over to our Commissioner Charles Kenny.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Good afternoon, Edison. So let me start by saying, you mentioned it before, your hometown commissioner, Charlie Tamara, wanted to be here today, but he had a couple functions with his granddaughter, and when you waited out, we said, okay, Charlie, you can go with your granddaughter. So, but he sends his regards. Today, we also have with us, as they said earlier, Deputy Director Santinara, up here taking photos. Great job. As was mentioned, County Clerk Nancy Pinkin. County Clerk was your assemblywoman at one time, a local councilwoman in East Brunswick, but now she's the County Clerk. And on top of all the important things that the County Clerk's office has to do, she is very instrumental in making sure we have fair and free elections. And that's very important today. Her goal is to make it so that everybody has a chance to have their voice heard. So we have Nancy Pinkin, we have Sheriff Scott. You heard about the sheriff? The sheriff has worked hard to get the Sheriff's Department accredited. She has worked hard to make sure our county buildings are safe with the Sheriff's Department in there. And not only that, she was out the other day, we were out yesterday, doing car seat inspections for car seats in cars for little kids. Very important to make sure that those seats are installed right and the kids are safe when they're traveling in the vehicle. So let's give it up to Sheriff Scott. So we have Commissioner Clary Ascona Barber and Commissioner Chanel Scott McCollum. And when I talk, I will be talking as a team because that's what we are. Whether it's at the top at the governor's office, down to our assembly people, Robin Sterling, down to our commissioner board, down to your local level with Sam Joshi as your mayor, and soon to be Kelly, Sherrill, and Rob as your council people. We work as a team, and that's what it's all about. So working as a team, you see what's going on down in Washington. They are trying to raise the deficit by trillions of dollars. In Middlesex County, we did the opposite. We worked very hard to be fiscally responsible and lower our debt. Lower our debt by $500 million. $500 million. So our kids in the future aren't paying for that. We do a pay-as-you-go when it comes to construction projects, whether it's improvements on Oak Tree Road where we've added traffic signals, the latest and best in technology, or other infrastructure projects. We pay as we go so our kids and our grandkids won't be paying for those projects. When it comes to schools, Middlesex County has magnet schools, the best magnet schools in the country. A couple of them are rated 1 and 3. Those schools we know, as opposed to Washington, D.C., where they are trying to defund education. We know that education provides hope and opportunity for our kids and our families to succeed and move ahead in life, and that's what we all want. So we work hard to make sure our magnet schools soon to have a 6th magnet school on the Middlesex College campus right over here. Middlesex College, providing an education at an affordable price so you don't have to mortgage your house to send your kids to college. Our magnet schools, making sure that if you want a path to college, you can go that way, or if you want a path into the trades and get a job in the construction or other fields, agriculture and other fields that are out there, the latest and best, we make sure our magnet schools provide that opportunity for you. When it comes to infrastructure and investment, we believe in investing in every community in our county. We don't ask the people, did you vote for us? We don't ask the people, did you say something nice about us when we sat you around the table. We know that when we invest in every town in Middlesex County, we make Middlesex County better. And one of those projects that we're doing is right here in Middlesex County on the college, an over $300 million investment project. That's going to, go ahead, you can clap for that. That's going to provide a space for community to come together, for kids to come together, and to provide opportunities that are going to help feed into our local businesses. When people need a hotel to stay at, or a restaurant to eat at, or some other function, they are going to pump it into our small businesses, and that's what we want to see, is make sure our small businesses move ahead. So that's what we're about. Just a couple things, because when you go talk to your friends and your family, we want to give you some reasons why, when they ask why should we vote for those people, you have them. But that's also what Mikie Sherrill's about. That's also what Rob and Sterling's about. That's also what the board is about. Our clerk, our sheriff. That's what Sam Joshi is about. That's what his team, Kelly, Sherrill, and Rob are about. Moving forward, having a fairness for everybody, a bright future, a future that brings freedom of choice for whatever you want to do. You won't be penalized. And so, making sure that families are taken care of. So the last thing I want to say real quick, I know I'm between Sam and Mikie Sherrill, and I know that I'm probably the last person you want to hear from right now. So let's be honest. But the one thing I want to say, if you haven't voted yet, get out and vote. Early voting closes today. If you have a vote by mail on the table at home, make sure you get it to a drop box and drop it off. Talk to your families. Talk to your friends. If you've talked to them and gotten all of them to vote, then see Sam or his team or somebody to get a list of voters. Get out there. Call those people. Say, we need you to help push us over the line on Tuesday, June 10th. After June 10th, we are going to have a victory, and it's going to be because of the people standing here today. We thank you very much for all you've done for coming out.
Round of applause again for our county elected officials and a great work they do. And I'm excited here in the House. And first I want to mention my good council colleague in the back, Asaf Shmuel, is back there. Thank you for coming today. It's not easy for him to get out on the weekend, let's be honest. But I hear Mikie Sherrill's in the house, guys. Really exciting news. And guys, I'm excited to bring up our next speaker. But before that, I just want to remind again how important it is. We're here today to re-elect Sam Joshi for 4 more years, guys. How many years is it, guys? And like I mentioned, what does that mean? I mean, today our public safety is at 199 police officers. Never in a decade have we been at 199. Right, how about that? So many great things are happening, and I'm happy to work alongside our Council President, Margaret Harris, our Council Vice President, John Pointer, and our Councilman, Asaf Shmuel. And I want to mention our next speaker is Chairman Mikie, but I just want to say a few words about the chairman and how he works with each member of the council, regardless of whether we get along or have disagreements. He's met with each one of us at least 4 times in the last couple of years, including Richard Rescher, AJ Patil, whether we agree or disagree. This man takes the time to keep us united as a team and work together. And I have to say, he's been very successful with most of the people on the council, and I'm very happy where we are today. But I just want to talk about a few accomplishments as talk about the chair. The chair has worked at every level in the Democratic Party, starting as a committee member, working his way up to be voted in as the youngest municipal chair in New Jersey. How about that, guys? Right? And let's not argue the facts. He's built this up for a long time, has elected many committee members and many elected officials through the county, state, and federal government. It has a true success line. And he's had a deep bench of people and their success. But I have to say, most of all, what I feel when I speak to our chairman or look at NCDO, right? We have a seat at the table every time when the state talks about what they're doing in New Jersey. And this is truly the work of Kevin McCabe and his team and what gets done here. So let's put our hands together. A round of applause for our chairman who works day and night, works hard to make sure we stay in New Jersey and things get done in the county of Middlesex. Chairman McCabe.
Councilman Coyle. too kind. Thank you all, Edison, for coming out. You know, I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. And we're going to tie it into why we're here today and why we're going to do what we need to do on Tuesday. And that is this. The connective tissue of what you do here in Edison, electing Sam Joshi and his team, will have the upward effect of making sure that Mikie Sherrill, Congresswoman Sherrill, gets elected as governor. Now, why is that so important? That's an applause line. Go ahead. I jumped on. Look, we are as strong as we can be as a party at the base, at the municipality, at the local level. And what we need to do is make sure that what has happened over the years in places like Ohio and Florida doesn't happen in New Jersey. This is critical. I think it's lost. I think people believe that New Jersey is a foregone conclusion going into general election. It is not. That is why in Middlesex County, in our conversations with all of our local leaders 6 months ago, it was confirmed at our convention that the best possible candidate, the right person at the right time to be governor of New Jersey, to withstand all of the nonsense that we are seeing, is indeed Congresswoman Sherrill, and she won overwhelmingly at the Middlesex County Convention. Again, I'm going to come back. I remember when I was a little boy, when President Obama won Ohio and won Florida, and now they are considered deep red states. This is how the domino effect works. You lose municipalities, counties, next thing you know, you lose states. We cannot afford that. The person who has been at the helm for the last several years to make sure New Jersey does not fall into that unfortunate circumstance is our friend, the state chair. I had the pleasure of working with him now since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I've known him for a long time. I knew of him. But I've had the pleasure to get to know he and his beautiful and wonderful wife, Jackie. Leroy Jones is not just a great chair of both Essex County and the state of New Jersey. He is a great advocate for the Democratic Party. I could not ask for a better partner, people, to be as the state chair. God bless him. And with that, our own Commissioner, Clarice Gona-Barbara, actually sits on the executive board because it's so important, that Middlesex-Essex relationship. And that happens because of people. Phil Elijah, who's the county executive chief of staff, is here with us today. His wife's from Carteret. Let's give him a hand. Not him, but his wife. There's a lot of connective tissue. These things don't happen by accident. They happen because of relationships. The relationship with Chairman Jones has been invaluable for us in Middlesex County. I like to think we've been helpful to him. But that being said, mutually it has been beneficial, not just to the Democratic Party, but to the people of New Jersey. Making sure that Phil Murphy got reelected, making sure that Congress in New Jersey stays blue. Guys like Frank Pallone, re-electing Congresswoman Sherrill when she was running. Remember, she ran in 2018 in a ruby red district and won. That's not by accident. It's because of who she is, her resume, and the leadership of people like Chairman Jones. Our Democratic Party is as strong as it's ever been. Oh, so you're right there. This gentleman, not only do I call him a friend, he is a great leader, and we are so benefited, we have benefited so well in the state of New Jersey because of our good friend, my dear friend, Chairman Leroy Jones. The champ is here! 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 What's up, Middlesex County? Wake me up!
over here. Look, I am so glad to be here with my amazing friend, Kevin Mikie, who has done a wonderful job, as a partner, in our quest for democratic superiority in the state of New Jersey. Let's give it up for your chairman of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, Kevin Mikie. Look, I've come all the way from Essex County. I live in a little town, called East Orange, New Jersey. And in East Orange, we get things done. We get things started because we understand, just like this young fella right here. We understand how critical elections are to our futures, to our past, but more importantly, to young people, to our elderly, and everybody else in between. And I know that holds true here in Middlesex County, particularly to the people in Edison. When we have tried and tried and tried to make sure that our democracy, our freedoms, and just simple affordability is something that is not necessarily just a privilege, but it is a right that all of us have. And these fine, let's give it up. And these individuals that have put themselves before the electorate to simply offer to public service quality education, affordability, and just simple retirement rights by keeping their hands off your Medicare and your Medicaid and your Social Security.
I remember that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am just so proud to be surrounded with people, like Rob and Sterling, with people like Millie Scott and the entire county ticket, and also Sam Joshi and all of the individuals that are running for local office in Edison. But I came here today not on just an invitation by Kevin, but I came here today to talk a little bit about a lady that you've probably seen on TV over and over and over again. And she is on a quest to make sure New Jersey remains affordable, to make sure New Jersey is out of the crosshairs of MAGA and Donald Trump. Yes, she's a helicopter pilot. Yes, she's a former federal prosecutor. But more importantly, she's a mom. And she understands the values of motherhood, and she understands how you grow communities. And she understands that there is a need for a firewall in this state. You have to understand one thing. New Jersey and Virginia are the two states that have statewide elections this year only.
I don't even know, man. I'm up and down.
And our national chairman was here the other day and he made this clear. He told us that Virginia, which is the other state whose governor is up for re-election, the Republicans have decided that Virginia is hands off. They can't win Virginia. But they've now turned their eyes on New Jersey. And New Jersey is going to be the battleground for the expansion of the whole MAGA agenda. So Donald Trump is coming for New Jersey. And all of you have a stake in that. Because when you look at the future, when you can look young people like this young man right here, we have to be so concerned and so careful about who we elect. And that's why it is time that we look at Mikie Sherrill in a very serious way. It's not just the TV, but it's her principles, it's her values, it's her being a mom that understands how important it is to raise a child, how important it is to take care of our elders, importantly, how important it is to take care of everybody in between. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just an election, this is a crusade. And the clarion call goes out to everyone that are in this parking lot and those across the Middlesex County and up and down the length and the breadth of New Jersey. Mikie Sherrill is that firewall for our freedom. Mikie Sherrill is our firewall for justice. Mikie Sherrill is our firewall for equality. Mikie Sherrill is our firewall for the future of this state. And it is my honor and my privilege to bring up the next governor for the state of New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen, Mikie Sherrill!
Because we have important work to do here. In the center of the state, that is the center of what the nation has to accomplish in 2025, we have got work to do. Because I have to tell you, we have some tough things to get done. But that's no problem, because I know we are no strangers to doing the hard things. I'll tell you, I've always been drawn to a challenge. When I was a little girl in the 5th grade, I told my dad I wanted to go to the Naval Academy and I wanted to be a naval aviator. And he said to me, you know what, Mikie? I don't know. I don't know if the Naval Academy takes women. I don't know if the Navy lets women fly. But I knew what this country was at its best. A country that creates opportunity. And so I went to the Naval Academy. I took my first oath to the Constitution when I was a teenager. And by the time I graduated with the first class of women eligible for combat on ships and aircraft. So I have seen opportunity created in this nation in my own lifetime. And then I saw Trump try to roll it all back in his first election. I saw him attack all the things I had fought for in my almost 10 years in service as a helicopter pilot and a Russian policy officer. So I decided to run for Congress in the 11th District of New Jersey. And the first thing I was told was, Mikie, don't run in the 11th District of New Jersey. It is unwinnable. It's too hard. You can't do it. Michael Moore made a documentary about running a ficus tree against the Republican incumbent because he said, ficus tree, Democrat, it doesn't matter, that guy's going nowhere. But I knew something different was happening, and I knew how important it was, so I decided to run and created the largest red to blue, Republican to Democratic swing in the entire nation. Because in New Jersey, we know that when we work together, that's the kind of change we can create. But then I got into Congress, and once again I was told, you know what, Mikie? In about 20 years, you work hard, you can get something done. And I thought, no, that is not my time. That's not good enough. So I got to work. I built broad coalitions of people, brought them together around the things we needed to see in New Jersey, got to work, and in only my second term was named the most effective member of the New Jersey delegation. So again, working hard for the people of New Jersey, bringing people together around the things we care about is so important. And I have to tell you that we see what's coming from the Republican Party. And we see that Jack Ciattarelli has already said that he's not going to take any executive order from Trump to court. He'll just cave at every level. He's already told us exactly what he's going to do. Completely cave to Donald Trump. That's not what we need. That's not what we need here in New Jersey. And then, when Trump says he's going to put military people on the ground in California instead of law enforcement, the people who know how to handle riots, the people who know how to keep our streets safe, Sherrill says, sure, go ahead. That's not leadership. That's not governance. That's not what we need in New Jersey. So that's why I'm running for governor, and that's why your mayor is such a strong person in this fight. The first mayor here for 16 years endorsed by the police union. The first mayor ever endorsed by the Superior Firefighter Union. Bringing competition to the market so your cable bills go down by $500 a year. That's a guy who not only knows how to lead, but knows how to get things done and drive down costs for people. That's the kind of guy we need. Not Jack Sherrill, not Donald Trump, but real leaders here in New Jersey who are going to create a different path forward. So I am proud to be here today. I'm fighting hard. Please get out to vote. On Tuesday, you can early vote today. I'm going to speak right into the microphone to get the word out. You can early vote today until 6 o'clock, and then polls open at 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. on Tuesday. So make sure you have a plan to vote. Get your friends out to vote, and vote for Middlesex County Dems. And thank you all so much for showing up today. I appreciate it.